is Meet the Candidate, and today we are being able to talk to Nick Smiar, who is the county chairperson, but he's also on your District 15, and so I'm glad to have him here. But Nick, if you could do me a little favor and let the people know about your background.
Wow, where should I begin? I'm an old man. How far back should I go? Well, I've been a resident of Eau Claire now for 31 years. Taught at the university, retired from the university in 2009, and as professor emeritus, I'm still teaching the honors program. Prior to Eau Claire, I taught at the College of St. Teresa in Winona for 3 years. Prior to that, I lived in Joliet. I was the director of a child and family welfare agency and worked there. I was associated there for 13 years and taught at the university there also. I'm a social worker. I've been a social worker for 52 years, and I have my MSW from the University of Illinois at Chicago and my PhD from the same, and MA and almost doctorate from Divinity School at the University of Chicago.
Well, you know, that's quite the background, and you are running as the incumbent for your district.
Right.
So in your time on the board, tell me some of the things that you feel are some of the major things that are happening that need to be addressed.
I think the major event item is the budget, because since Act 10 was passed, what is that now, 8 years or so, it has put severe limits on the property tax levy. It limits it at 2%, which is below inflation, below costs, and we have a county that's expanding and the need for service is expanding, and so it becomes more and more difficult each year. One of the items that's always mentioned, and I'm sure it will come up at some point, is the vehicle registration fee. And I'd like to take a minute to talk about that.
That's fine.
As I've said to you many times, it's not a wheel tax, because if you have a truck with double wheels in the back, if you're paying by wheel, you're paying more. But it's a registration fee. We have that fee because the road aids money that the state sends to us, it changed very slightly a few years ago, but it's been essentially the same for more than 15 years. And that means the cost of highway construction and maintenance has gone up and so on. And so we have this fee that brings in about $2 million a year. What that means is that we borrow $6 million a year for roads, just for roads. Now we would have to borrow $4 million.
Okay.
So what's happening is it's actually a user fee that people who are using the roads are paying for using the roads through their fee. And so my question is, do you want to pay now or do you want to pay more later? Because we'd have to borrow and then you'd have to pay the interest on that loan. So to go back to your original question, it's budget. It's trying to stretch it as far as we can. And there are those who think, oh, you're wasting money, but I would invite anyone. I would sit down with anyone and say, here's our budget. Tell me what you would cut. So let's cut snow plowing, for example. That's going to be really popular out in the outer reaches of the county. Or let's cut law enforcement. That's not going to be very popular either. So to answer your question in brief, I think my primary focus is the budget. And I'm serving as chair, and so of course that's very relevant to the job I'm doing. Other issues I think that we have to pay attention to are air and water quality. I had an interesting conversation with the supervisor in Kewaunee County, the county that has no clean water, or at least that's how it's described. And the issue there was runoff, manure runoff from large animal operations in a county that has only about that much soil, and then it's limestone, and then it's sandstone, and the limestone is karst. It has cracks in it. And so the fertilizer washes right down through into the water table. So we're not at that point yet. But we had our struggles with, we have our struggles with water quality and that sort of thing with the sand mines. And you may remember that, it was a couple of years ago. And I think we came out okay on that one. And we did deal with the possibility of a large CAFO, but this county really is not suitable for large animal operations.
Yeah.
And by large, I mean over 1,000 cows, for example.
Okay.
So did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Did I over-answer your question?
No, I think, I guess the things that I'm trying to educate as well as get from the candidates is the fact that running for public office isn't just as easy as it sounds, and that it's more complicated once you're in the seat.
The running for the office is much easier than the being in the office. I would say, and I've said this to you before, it takes about a year for a new county board supervisor really to grasp everything that's going on. It's incredibly complex. And then it takes another year to figure out what I can do within that. Then it's time for re-election. So yes, in that sense, it can be difficult. It's also very rewarding. And let me take this opportunity to say, from my board chair position, we have the finest collection of staff. In my entire life, my entire career, I have never had such a group of people. Every one of our directors is just the best. And so the taxpayers of the county can rely on the fact that they're getting good service out of the county folks.
And so in that same vein then, besides the budget and that, are there other things that you can explain to your constituents of what the difference of mandated services that come down to services that we give that aren't mandated, and why it's so important for them to understand that?
Well, we have a wide variety of mandated services, for example, in highways and so on, but the most critical is in human services. There are about 10 programs in a variety of ways, or 10 programs in human services. 9 of them are mandated. That means that the state legislature mandated that these services must be provided. But in almost no case have they put the funding with the mandate. So the state is saying to the county and to the city, you must do this, but we're not going to help you. And then we say, well, where's the money going to come from? And they say, well, you'll figure it out. And that's what we're busy trying to do.
What we're trying to do is figure it out.
We have to become very creative in how we do services.
Are there other areas of the county that you see that there may be some progression to becoming more issues with it than currently today?
With mandated services or just the services?
This is just the services.
It's not that I can't think of an answer.
Yeah,
I can think of
how
10
many?
answers. Well, let me start by saying my district is the Randall Park neighborhood area, and that's in the city. So people say, well, wait a minute.
Yeah?
Yeah. Isn't there a little overlap? Yes, there's an overlap there.
Okay.
But in my case, as a District 15 supervisor, I'm very active with the city. I'll go down and present to Plan Commission and work, do stuff like that. Areas of the county. Well, I have some concerns about the far outlying areas of the county. For example, Fairchild, which is in the far southeastern, literally right on the line of the county. And it's an area that needs some economic development work. Economic development in general, not just for the city of Eau Claire or Altoona, but in the county.
Overall.
And to that point, one of the things that we are working on, and it's going to go very slowly, is becoming a regional transportation authority.
Oh, okay.
And the current project is a rail line from Eau Claire into the Twin Cities.
Okay.
And it's moving along, but it's a snail's pace. Attached to that eventually will be a transportation system for the whole county. One of the problems we have is that people who live in Fairchild or Fall Creek or whatever don't have transportation into Eau Claire and Altoona. So that's, the rail line is right at the front. We're working on that now. And there's a bill before the legislature to establish the Regional Transportation Authority. It's just come in now. Once that starts moving and we can line up the counties that are between Eau Claire and Minneapolis and get a cooperative arrangement, that should go reasonably well, we hope. The extension of transportation through the county is going to be more difficult.
Yeah, that could be a real challenge.
But it could be great for our economic development.
Yeah.
So,
I guess some of the things that I'm looking at and seeing from where we sit, and we sit behind the cameras most of the time watching and doing, is the overall job that the county has ahead of it is definitely intertwined with city and stuff, but really stands alone in the things that everybody outside the city of Eau Claire and those really deal with, and that the commitment and the support of the people that have been out there has really been great to watch and see. But this is your stage, and you get to tell your constituents why you would like them to let you continue, and how you.
well, my constituents do not make me chair of the board, and that's my fellow supervisors.
Right.
But in terms of my area, why should I be? First of all, ours is a district is heavily populated by students. We're 85% rental in my district. And I can safely assume most of those rentals are students. And the students, in my personal experience, they've been wonderful neighbors. I mean, all the stereotypes about it now. There are always some people who are, off the beam. But we've had wonderful student neighbors. And I think two of the things about me, I've been a university professor, so I know the students, and they know me for good or for ill, they know me. So I have that knowledge and that experience. Also, I have a lifetime of experience in administration and policy formulation since 1968. So they get bang for the buck. They get they get all the experience, the knowledge, the skills that I can exercise as county board supervisor. Now, again, they're not electing me chair, and I'm not certain I will be chair. That depends on my colleagues. But to that, I bring a wealth of experience in running meetings and working with administration and establishing cooperative arrangements and so on. So you get more for the buck.
Okay. Well, everybody remember that it's come April, it's time to vote, and make sure that you go out and vote, because in reality, the same thing transpires. If you don't vote, don't complain. You have an opportunity to really help do what your civic duty is, and that is vote. So
my parents taught us to be good neighbors and good citizens, and I encourage everyone to go out and vote.
Yeah.
I just go vote. You don't have to vote the way I want, but I wish you would.
So, well, Nick, thank you so much for coming in and taking the time to do this. We really appreciate your services, and hopefully when all of this is done, that you have a good outcome.
Let me put in a plug for Valley Media Works. I don't think the public realizes that you're the ones who video our meetings and assist us. So,
Well, I think again, coming from the county board, the city, the school board, the commitment to transparency has been overwhelmingly great.
good,
And that's what.
because
we
that's
need
my
to do.
primary value.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.